Today, I'll share with you the 5 worst TFSA mistakes that you must avoid if you don't want to end up in jail and if you want to grow your net worth in the long term. A TFSA or a tax-free savings account is a great tool for Canadians that allows them to earn tax-free returns on their different investments. However, many Canadians are making common mistakes that can hinder their abilities to maximize their TFSA. So in this video, we're going to explore what are the most common TFSA mistakes and how you can avoid them. Starting with the first mistake, which is to have a short-term vision with your TFSA and to try to be a day trader. Nowadays, many people are looking for shortcuts that can lead them to massive amount of wealth. Unfortunately, if you're looking through this avenue in your TFSA, it might cost you a lot. First, if you didn't know, only about 5 to 20% of all day traders are able to be profitable and make a little bit of money. And among these people, only a few of them are able to generate a lot of money from those operations. So as you can see, it is pretty much impossible for anyone to predict what will be the next market move. And in addition to this low possibility of making some great gains with the day trading activities, well, on your side, you might get hardly penalized if you decide to do these kind of activities in your TFSA. While you can decide to buy and sell different stocks and ETFs in this special account, day trading or overly frequent trading in this kind of account can be flagged and penalized by the CRA that could see that as some kind of business activities. And since those transactions will be considered as some trading activity, on your side, you might have to pay some capital gain taxes when you are doing your day trading in this account. And keep in mind that another big threat for Canadians that have a short-term visions in their TFSA is the opportunity of cost. The opportunity of cost is the risk of losing a certain potential of gains on a certain investment compared to another one. As you can understand, the TFSA is a long-term program where you shouldn't do some day trading in it and you shouldn't also hold different cash and cash equivalent in this account. So on your side, try to maximize the investment opportunities that you have in this account to flourish it on the long term. And this leads us to the second mistake that you must avoid in your TFSA, which is to lose track of your contribution limit and to not respect the withdrawal rule. As magical as it could look, the TFSA isn't a simple way for you to put all your money in one place and to hide it from the government to make it grow on the long term. Even if on your side your objective should be to max out your TFSA, you must keep in mind that you have a maximum annual contribution limit. And keep in mind that since the creation of the TFSA in 2009, this limit has been growing through time. In fact, if you were 18 or more in 2009 and that you have still not invested in your TFSA, well, your maximum contribution limit would be of $88,000 at the moment. Plus, more recently, we've seen that the maximum annual contribution for 2023 has been fixed to $6,500. But on your side, if you're unsure of what is your maximum contribution limit at the moment, I would recommend you to check out the CRA website. And on your side, even if you decide to make different withdrawals during the year in your TFSA, well, you must keep in mind that your main focus should be to max it out. And it is worth notice that you can open multiple kinds of TFSA with different institutions, for example with Wealthsimple and Questrade, but in all time you must respect your total contribution limit. And in terms of the withdrawals, you can basically decide to withdraw money of your TFSA tax-free at every single time of the year. But keep in mind that during the year that you withdraw your money, you can't reinvest it in your TFSA. So for an hypothesis, let's say that I have maxed out my TFSA in the previous years and so that I have some unused right of $0 at the moment and that my annual contribution for 2023 is of $6,500. Well, if I decide to invest $4,000 in my TFSA, but after to withdraw $2,000 of it, you can understand that for the rest of 2023, the maximum that I can reinject in my TFSA is of $2,500. And for the $2,000 that I've withdrawn that I can't re-put in my TFSA for 2023, I'll be able to reinject it in my TFSA with my other annual contribution in 2024. However, even if it is crucial for you to max out the contributions in your TFSA, you must understand what are the main ingredients that are required for you to grow it. And so the third mistake that you must avoid in your TFSA is to be careful with foreign investment. A tax-free savings account is a quite unknown investment vehicle in many places in the world. That means that these countries that don't recognize this special program won't also recognize the different benefits of it. For example, let's say that in your TFSA you decide to invest in an American stock that is giving a juicy dividend to their shareholders. Well, in that case, you would still have to pay the 15% of withholding US dividend taxes. But on the upper end, if you decided to put this American stock in your TFSA, you wouldn't have to pay the withholding tax in this account. But the worst of that is for Canadian and American citizens that actually have a TFSA, because if you remember well what I told you earlier, there are no countries in the world that are recognizing the TFSA, meaning that every US taxpayer that would have a TFSA would pay some potential US taxes on the capital gain and on the interest income that they will have made in their TFSA. And for that reason, while TFSAs have many benefits for Canadians, it would be important for Americans that are paying taxes in their country to not have any kinds of TFSA. But in fact, now you might be wondering, hey, but Louis, what should I put in my TFSA? Well, knowing the fact that the dividend income is less taxed here in Canada compared to the capital gain that will be generated when you sell a certain stock with a profit, I am personally using my TFSA to hold different great Canadian high dividend stocks in it. And at the same time, I have the possibility with my broker to reinvest all those dividends to buy new shares every single distribution. But now is the time for you to find what are the two last TFSA mistakes that you must avoid, which are quite more technical than the three first ones. Starting with the fourth mistake, which is to not understand what are the eligibility principles of this tax-free savings account. Often people have the false belief that once you reach 18 years old and that you live in Canada, you can start to trade in your TFSA. In fact, this affirmation is true for most Canadians, but it isn't true for all the people that still don't have their Canadian citizenship, even if they are 18 years old or more. If you are an immigrant, it means that you will start accumulating contribution limits in your TFSA once you will become a taxpayer in Canada. And finally, the fifth and last mistake to avoid in your TFSA is a little bit more complex than the other ones on my list. It is to avoid naming your spouse or your husband as a beneficiary instead of a successor holder. If you intend to leave your TFSA to your loved one after you die, it is usually better to name them as a successor holder compared to a beneficiary. In fact, only a spouse or an husband can be designed by the law as a successor holder, meaning that once you're going to be dead, they will automatically become the new owner of your own TFSA account. And the benefit of it is that they will have the tax-free status basically as if this account was always them. However, if you were to decide to name them as your beneficiary, well, they will still be able to receive the tax-free savings account assets totally tax-free, but they will need to pass through the designation of the successor. And so this could come with some extra administrative tasks to be able to obtain those assets. Plus, they will also become liable for tax purposes when it comes to all the revenue income and also for the capital gain that you will have generate from your death to the period where the TFSA will be distributed. So a beneficiary distribution is better for anyone that it isn't your wife or your husband, meaning that it could be a great option for your kids or for your parents. And it is worth notice that in Quebec, you can't pass through your online broker to name your successor holder, but you need to pass through a will. So there you have it. Those are the worst TFSA mistakes to avoid when you are investing in this special account, especially if you want to be successful in your financial journey. However, if you still don't understand what are the main differences between the TFSA and the RRSP, check out the video that's gonna be right over here, and I will see you soon. Peace.